Well, morning, guys. How are you both?
Good, very good,
Yeah,
thank you.
really good, really good.
Excellent, excellent. Really appreciate you taking some time to have a conversation today. And for everybody listening, welcome Neo and Rachel Parithis from ICE Recruitment. Now, I know I can talk a lot about ICE, but you can say something very, very concisely, I guess. Just share with the audience who are listening just a little bit about ICE Recruitment. What sector do you guys work with, and then we can get into a conversation.
Okay, so we work in the sales sector, but it's
Mhm.
very niche and very specific. So we supply candidates that sell IT. So organisations that will sell technology
Yep.
in end user companies. It could be banks, it could be industries like manufacturing, etc.
Mhm.
We supply people that sell technology into companies that use technology.
Fantastic. Great. That's brilliant. And I know that we've worked together for a couple of years now, and so it's thinking back to where were you at the start of this journey, but maybe it would be just that is a good place to start. Is what was life like from a marketing point of view and a business building point of view before you joined Superfast Circle, because you were one of our founding members.
Yeah, we didn't have any marketing at all, to be honest, and I don't think it's until now that we realise how much we didn't have, because obviously we've learned so much over the previous few years. But we were running our business; it was doing fine, but there was no marketing around it at all. We would do very basic, ads out, candidates in, placements. That was kind of it. But now that was the point, wasn't it, where we thought we
Yeah.
need to do something. This is fine at the minute, but this is not something you can continue to do forever. You've got to get some structure in place, and that's where we were when we first joined.
Yeah. And I mean, and just thinking about, I guess, the evolution of the business as well in the last few years, do you want to just maybe say a little bit about, where you were at with the business at that point?
In terms of where we were at, if I cast my mind back when we started in 2008, once we got started for a number of years, I think we ran it as a lifestyle business around the family.
Right. Yeah.
To be fair,
Yeah.
that's what we did. It was
Yeah.
our decision. It's what we wanted to do. But as time progressed, and obviously people grow up and develop their own independence, it gave us that opportunity then to get really serious about what we wanted to do and start talking about strategy, to start talking about processes and planning, etc. And that's where this fitted in really, really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
And I think that's what, certainly one of the things that I distinctly remember is, we ended up meeting as you were at that point of making that transition from, lifestyle to actually this is a business that we now want to, seriously grow and scale. So Rachel, I know we had, in fact, you and I, Neo, spoke a number of years before, but
Yeah. So that was the irony. I was
I
about
know, wasn't it just? Yeah. And then
2 years prior.
fast forward, Rachel and I then had a conversation, So at that point, Rachel, what would you describe was, what was the main problem that you guys were then looking to solve based on what you were saying and where you were at?
I think we actually didn't realise what we needed to solve, in all honesty. We needed knowledge around what we needed. What were we completely missing? And during some of our very first conversations, that's when you were talking to me and establishing, do you have this? Have you tried that? And to be fair, most of it, no, I hadn't considered, I hadn't done. We'd maybe discussed here and there, but that would have been it. We didn't have any processes or anything in place.
Yeah.
So the knowledge was what we needed. And initially, because I think the circle was only just beginning when I joined. So we were originally thinking, well, you can teach us the basics and then off we'll go. But it's developed into a lot more than that. But that was the premise initially, was just how can we set some basic marketing structure to our business, because we have none.
Yeah. And it's a challenge, isn't it, when you don't know what you don't know?
That's exactly where we were. We didn't know what we didn't know, and we didn't know what we didn't have because we didn't have it.
Unconsciously incompetent.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Neo, do you remember, thinking back to when we originally spoke, how did you come across Superfast Recruitment?
So you were referred to me by someone that we both know. And
I remember
for privacy purposes, obviously, I won't mention the name for whatever reason. But it was someone that I'd been meeting on a regular basis, because our background wasn't recruitment and their background was all recruitment. And they were really kind with their time and their information and everything else. And so they recommended that we speak, and that's what we did.
Right, got you. Yes, it's as it's a while ago, I kind of like forgotten the origin of our relationship. So Rachel, when let's just fast track then to when you and I spoke. What do you think it was that made you then sort of make that commitment to Superfast Circle? Because yes, you were wanting to learn, and it does mean that while we can teach what to do, give you lots of guidance, and we can be there for support, you've got to do some of it yourself as well. So what was it that made you think, right, we are serious about this, we're up for it?
I think after talking to you, obviously there was a connection where we really liked you. We liked what you were saying. You seemed to be talking in an understandable way to somebody who's not a marketeer. Because I think often you think, well, I have no idea what's this going to be. You know, if you went to a technical person and they're trying to tell you how to set up your back office on your laptop, you sort of, but that was sort of, I was expecting it to be a little bit like that. I wasn't sure, but it was so clear and concise, and it was, we will help you every step of the way. We will talk you through it. If you ever have a question, put a question out there. One of us in the team will come back to you. And having that, from being just a two-man band at the time, having someone that we could ask questions to, and knowing that knowledge was there, was so important to me, because I was kind of a lone person needing that support and needing that help. And at the beginning, I asked loads of questions, and probably the same question many times, but it was okay. And and that was the selling point for me. I thought, I've got some people here that can help us, and we can ask specific questions and get answers.
Yeah.
I thought your values were aligned as well. Your values and two values of company as well were very, very aligned.
In what way, Neo, did you pick that?
Okay, so in what way? If I cast my mind to other things that I've looked at, and let's say I look at an automation tool for ICE Recruitment, and I speak to 3 potential suppliers, the product is certainly of importance. But then if I feel personally, I think if we feel like we're just a commodity at the other end, then if there are 2 products that are quite similar, we're probably going to go with the person or the company that we feel more aligned to, from a warmth perspective, from a value add perspective, people that you can call up and it's not timed on a fee, people that will call you back, people that you build a relationship with, because that's how we work with our clients and our candidates. So we wanted someone to replicate that.
Yes.
And I think that was really, really important.
Yeah.
Rather than just, here's a tick sheet, have a look at the website. No, we want to talk to you. We want to do this. Can you supply that element of service over and above just content and facts?
Got you.
That was vital.
Yeah, right. That I understand. And I'm just curious, Rachel, if I can just go back a couple of steps based on something that you said about what made you decide to join. Because you were talking about, if what you could get is, a starting point, and you could learn and get the basics, and then, that would be great. And you said something about, and it's become so much more. And
Yeah.
I just wondered if you could say a little bit more about what you mean by that.
So initially, I think the words that I hooked onto, other than the relationship build, but when you were telling me what you can offer, was
Yes.
blogs, monthly blogs. We will help you write. If you wanted to write something yourself, you could upload it, and we would help you word it better.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't doing any blogging at the time.
Yeah.
And so that was what I initially thought. Great, we're going to get blogs. That was really what I thought marketing was.
Right.
But
Yeah,
what
right.
has
Okay.
developed since then
Yeah.
is every week we have meetings with you. Any issues, if we're talking about why has an advert worked or not worked, more importantly, why didn't it work? How do you get people to drive to your website? What is your website saying? You've got a specialist for technology. So when we've had back office questions, again, if they were more than, if there was something about WordPress, which is the platform that our website uses, you have a tech expert that comes in and says, let me show you. I will physically show you. There's also hundreds of videos uploaded. So I can search a topic, if you dare go on holiday for 1 week, rather than me call you, I can actually look at the videos, and I can, find what I need, or someone else in your team would answer it whilst you weren't there. It became, from just being, we need some blogs and we need to stop just putting adverts out, it became so much more. We've as you know, our CRM software, we've had two whilst being in the circle. Both of them came from hearing through the circle. We hadn't heard of them. We researched them. We did it. And then the most recent one that we changed to last summer, again, was a referral through the circle.
Yeah.
And, and then that person is saying, have you looked at this? Have you tried that? We can do this. Automation, getting sequences of emails out. What is that about? It's been phenomenal. I'm just learning and growing and growing. It's become so much more than we need some marketing and a couple, a nice logo.
Yeah. Which I know, sometimes that's often the starting point, isn't it? People think, well, we just need to get our logo and our brand out there more, and there is more to it, as we know. And it can be overwhelming when people don't know where to start. Now, I mean, you guys have, over the last few years, you've, taken huge strides each year. What would you say you've been able to achieve? And if you're going to summarize your achievements from a marketing point of view, and how that's influenced the business?
So I think there's two things. One, from a marketing perspective, I think we're on a journey still.
Yeah.
Very much so. And we have visibility, excuse me, and we have visibility of where we want to get to now.
Yeah.
So if we started with nothing, and this is utopia, and we're on that journey, and having the forum with you guys directly to be able to talk about that really, really helps. But I think the other thing that's over and above is that because we're involved in the circle, so to speak, where you've got lots of other people, you're able to then bounce ideas, and you get a lot of reassurance about what's worked and what hasn't.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we would have done without it, would have been going through YouTube videos, reading, and the amount of time saved of not getting things wrong. We still get things wrong, but we get fewer things wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Is enormous, because you can validate. I'll give you an example. When we moved over to our CRM system, not only did we get the idea from someone in the group, they spent time talking to us offline.
Yes, I remember.
To do that.
Yeah.
And whilst that sounds like a CRM system isn't part of marketing, actually it is, because the CRM system we have has a drip campaign element to it, which we're then able to tie in with our database and go forward. That in itself has then added incremental revenue,
Yeah.
which wouldn't have happened. So you can domino it back.
Yeah.
To where we were. My apologies for the phone. It was a client.
Hey, don't worry, it happens. It happens. But just thinking of that drip campaign capability, I guess it tied in quite nicely, didn't it, with the collateral that you guys have access to. You then had, I guess, a system that acted as a CRM, but also allowed you to automate, use some of the automated campaign collateral that you get.
100%.
Yeah.
So we sent a campaign out yesterday using content from you, and then on the back of it, today I've had a call with a prospect who wants us to do some work for them. Now I've been talking to this prospect for about 8 months, maybe a year, on and off, never quite ready. But because the collateral went out, it was almost like a memory jogger. Because I'm not saying that the collateral goes out, someone sees it, they think you're amazing, and they're going to use you. Sometimes it can work that way. Sometimes it's the little nudge that helps. And I think we'll sign terms today to get a new client from sending out those emails yesterday from your content.
Fantastic. How
true story. I mean, I just got off the phone before you.
And well, it's great. It's great to hear something that's so recent as well. I mean, thinking about, because that's an initial quick win to potentially get a new client, and obviously there'll be the conversion and everything on the back of it. But thinking about results, how would you say ICE Recruitment? How has being part of Superfast Circle helped yourselves in ICE Recruitment to to achieve the goals and get some of the results that you have been getting?
I think that without doing the due diligence in detail, if I was to do some jungle maths, it's easily added 6 figures to our number since working with you, either directly through the work that we've done with you guys and getting candidates and opportunities that we may not have got. For example, if I've been talking to this client with a prospect rather for on and off for a year, and I hadn't sent information regularly, I'd have only engaged with them 4 times, where actually, because of what I've done through you guys, I've probably engaged with them over 15 times. So I've become front of mind. I've got a candidate I'm talking to this afternoon who said, whenever I look in my inbox, you always seem to be in the top 3 people because of the regularity of content that goes through. Now, that candidate and that client, and actually I'm going to marry the 2 up, funnily enough, and I'm not making that up. This candidate that came off the back of one campaign will be married up to this client that I'm going to sign from another campaign. So if you think about the number that comes out of that, and easily 6 figures since we've used. So that's the first angle. The second angle is when you work with other recruitment organisations, because when you're small like us, it can be a lonely place.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you're then in a group of people and some people are doing 5 times the number you're doing, or 10 times the number you're doing, because there are some big players in that group, it starts just thinking, actually, you know what, perhaps the ceiling that we set is too low. And perhaps we need to increase that. So there's another side to it
that's an interesting. I like that. Yeah. That's an interesting, because it would be easy. Sometimes people might say, it can be a bit disheartening because they're so far ahead and they're bigger. But that's fantastic to hear.
No, it's inspiring.
Yeah.
If they can do it, then it's possible, right?
And why not? I think that's the beauty, isn't it? Of what online allows companies of all sizes to compete, which didn't happen many years ago, did it?
No.
Agreed. So that's what I think, anyway.
Yeah. Rachel, anything from your perspective in terms of how you showing up week after week after week, which is what you do, how has that helped you contribute?
Can I answer that? Because I think seeing you from the outside is probably as important, because the growth that I've seen in Rachel has been phenomenal. I mean, nothing short of phenomenal. If we'd have invested and put you on a personal development program over the last 4 years, you would have developed half the rate that you've developed through SFR, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's independent of everything else, and you're learning from other people, and they're learning off you. I've seen a massive growth, which has been reflected in the numbers as well.
Are there any specifics that you'd be comfortable sharing, Neo?
Yeah.
Or Rachel, that you feel you want to share?
I was wondering what you meant specifically.
Okay, so let's go as crude and as basic as revenue.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good place to start.
It's a good place to finish as well.
Yeah.
Rachel's numbers have tripled. And to be fair, I don't think Rachel's doing that much different in terms of her hours of work. I mean, she's always worked hard, but the effects and the results of working with the team, with you guys, I think I'll go back to the personal development piece, the belief, the follow through, the process. It feels like that has aligned itself in a parallel journey with the numbers, and I would say that this year you will do 3 times the number that you did 3 years ago. And you will do that, and I will attribute at least 80% of that to the group.
Wow.
Because I tend to take her backwards, the group tend to take her forwards. So I would say, in terms of numbers,
I'm not going to take all the credit for that.
But in terms of numbers,
yeah,
that's what it's about, right? Because that's one thing you can measure and say there's been a material difference.
Yes.
Because through the group, through the information, through the knowledge, and then through sharing with the other people in the group, I think has led to that journey.
Yeah.
Of course, the spark has to be there, right?
Yeah, of
and
course.
the spark's there, and then I think it's been lit. And I think we've seen the start of it, actually.
Yeah. Rachel, anything to add there from those glowing?
Well, I think I see it slightly different. I mean, I do see that. I don't mean that I don't see it as different with yourselves. That knowledge I was ready for it then. So prior to joining the circle, I was very much a working mum. And though I'm still a working mum, my children are older, they've left school. And I was at a stage where I could dedicate more brain time, maybe not more hours, but my brain time was focused more back in the business. And I needed structure, and that's what you gave me. And yes, I agree, it's about 80% based on that. But that's when we came to you, our lives were at a turning point where our kids were leaving school, and it was a very different time for us. It was perfect timing for our lives because, like Neo said earlier, we had a lifestyle business and then we wanted to ramp it up now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we've done with your help. That's exactly what we've done. And, the numbers are showing now. They are.
They are absolutely showing, aren't they? Yeah.
Definitely triple it this year. And I'll still aim to do more, but I will triple it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And over the time, how has it been for you guys, working with Denise and I?
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's been fantastic because it's given us, it's almost like we are part of the same business. We're not just clients. We're not just people on the end of the phone getting a fee. To me, I've never been treated like that from you two and your team ever. I've always felt like you are an addition. You are part of our business. We are one business and you are that knowledge and we're doing this. I've always felt I could reach out. It's been really, the values that you have match with us so well. Yeah. I've never felt like I was asking a silly question. No. Or if I did, we'd just laugh about it and say we've answered 4 times, and every week I come to the circle. Often I don't have a question. I just like to learn because other people bring things that I hadn't even considered. Even now, 4 years later, things discussed. I think, I haven't done that. Let's have a look at that. The software we've looked at, the different software, the ways to do a website, the knowledge, SEO, info that even now we're still not fully utilizing, but I've gained so much knowledge. It's been fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, for me.
And so, I mean, just, thinking about it, what would you say then, I guess based on, because you've said some really fabulous stuff and I really appreciate that. And and I say that because I'm just genuinely so thrilled that you guys are getting the results that you deserve after all the work that you've put in. But, what would you say is your main reason for recommending Superfast Circle to, other business owners or business owners perhaps who've got a marketeer that they would like to support? What would you say?
Well, from my angle, I would say whether it's like us, just a business owner doing the marketing, or whether you'll then have a marketeer. Again, if you're a smaller company growing, you may only have one marketeer, and it doesn't matter whether they're young to their role, or whether they've been in their role a while. There's nothing like having a team. There's nothing like having that comfort of knowing you can ask someone else. And it's not about whether you're the marketing director or marketing exec. It's about having that support and that accountability and that help whenever you need it. And also you can offer your knowledge to others and think, oh gosh, I helped someone there, and I thought that was really obvious, but clearly not, because the things that I've learned are very obvious to someone else. So I think I would recommend it highly, because the benefits are fantastic. You get the community. Back in the pre-COVID world, we did meet up a couple of times a year as well.
We will again. We will again.
And, so there's so much more to it than just turning up on a Zoom and turning it off an hour later. That it's knowledge, it's information, it's friendship. It's friendship and it's business knowledge. So I would certainly highly recommend.
Fantastic. Neo, anything that you would like to add?
I think for those that don't obviously know, is I came from industry. So, I used to look after teams of 100 people plus within the group that I had and stuff. And I think the one thing that I always learned is however much you think you know, you actually don't know that much. Yeah. And being in a group of people who will have either superior knowledge or just simply a different angle and different knowledge will add value to you, because you can only output what you already know.
Yeah.
And so getting information from lots of other data points of people that have other experiences at different levels is vital. And I think the other thing, and it came to me as we were talking today, to be fair, if I could sum up a term for the offering over and above just content and marketing, I think it's a concierge service. Yeah. It's like a concierge service where you can just tap on the bell, ring someone up and go, listen, this is going on. What do I do here?
Yeah.
In an area that we're not experts on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that works. That's the over and above value add, because there are many, many companies providing content.
Yeah. Yeah.
But absolutely. So that, I think that's where I would finish on it, if that helps.
I think so. Yeah, no, I mean, it's good to hear really and have this conversation with you, because it's been a journey. We've been there with you, and I think it's just so fantastic to hear you sharing for other people the kind of results that you're now getting. Because results don't happen overnight, do they? You really have rolled up your sleeves, got stuck in, and you've moved step by step. And there's always kind of like the next level, which is kind of like where you're at now. But when I think about where we all started together and where you are now, it's an absolute pleasure to see you getting the results that you so richly deserve. So thank you both for sharing your story, and I shall look forward to seeing you on the next Superfast call.
You will.
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys.
Bye now.